Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kelly Bouzade. I'm the CE of the Cambridge Chamber, and welcome to Candid candidates here this evening. It's my pleasure to open the event. We really appreciate you all showing up and taking the time to learn more about the large number of candidates we have. Turning up and casting your vote really matters. With a turnout of just 39.6% in the last election, we encourage you not just to vote yourself, but to motivate your colleagues, friends and family who aren't here tonight to do the same. I saw a post actually from Mayor Paula Southgate recently, and I thought it was quite relevant. Local government matters. It is the foundation of daily life, providing services we all depend on. Clean drinking water, waste collection, safe roads, public parks, libraries, community hubs, civil defence, and invisible but vital work of the long-term plan. When it works, people hardly notice it. But when something breaks, the noise of the community is swift and loud. Not every decision is popular, especially when it comes to rates and regulations. Being a mayor or councillor means navigating a complex web of legislation that govern our communities and making some hard calls and resisting the quick fix. Skill sets matter, which is why we've taken the time to ask the candidates what they bring to the table. And tonight we ask some questions of our councillor and mayoral candidates where they stand on the issues that matter. The Cambridge Chamber applauds every candidate for their commitment to showing up and trying to make a difference. So time is of the essence tonight, and we acknowledge and apologise that we couldn't well cater for the inclusion of candidates standing for Waipā Regional Council, Mongatautree and the Cambridge Community Board who are in the room tonight. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you all the best on election. So before we begin, just a quick note on health and safety. In the event of an emergency, please exit calmly through any of the exit signs and go through the piazza to meet by the cenotaph. Bathrooms are located on the right-hand side where you came in, through the main doors. Tonight's format is a fast-paced Q&A session with our Māori ward, Cambridge ward and mayoral candidates. We'll begin with the Māori ward candidates, moving on to Cambridge subdivision, who have been grouped into two blocks of 8. In draw order, given the large number standing, the draw has been completed under the watchful eye of a JP. Following that, we'll move on to our mayoral candidates who will take part in a similar format. And at the conclusion, we're keen to get a sense of the mood in the room, so we do invite you to participate in a non-binding vote. Please be assured any questions or voting information is completely anonymous. We do not have access to names and information. Cambridge News is also live during the session. On your seats you'll find that there is some information, and there are some up the front, so if you don't have one, please come and grab one. It contains the candidate bios and photographs, a skill matrix completed by the applicants, information on the referendum for Māori wards, and information on the Menti system, which we'll be using tonight for the audience questions. So we encourage you now to pull out your phone. I know we don't normally do this at an event. Please firstly pop it on silent, and then we invite you to scan the QR code on the information flyers. And you can start sending through your questions for the candidates now. If you have any trouble scanning that, just put your hand up and we'll come and help you. I won't, because Araha's really good at that stuff. Okay, so is there anyone that doesn't have a flyer that may need one in the back of the room? Everyone's got one? Great. So we're going to start with some random quick-fire questions to warm up. They are fast-paced and they're designed to set the scene. And then we move on. Each candidate here will have 2 minutes to answer one question from our MC and the other from the audience from the questions. So you're starting to see them go up on the screens now. And so you'll have, sorry, I'm going to beat you on that. Candidates will have 1 minute and there'll be a ding at 45 seconds to wrap up. The Merrill format is similar but provides for an introduction, a 2 minutes to answer the question, and greater audience participation through the use of a microphone on the floor. I will ask that everybody in the room conducts themselves respectfully this evening. So without further ado, I have great pleasure in inviting Chamber Life member Peter Carr, our facilitator for this evening. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome. Before I talk with the audience, I'd just like to talk with the candidates here and to say thank you. Thank you for being brave enough, first of all, to put your name in to stand for election to a council. Some of you who have been there will know that at times it's a thankless task, plays havoc with your family life. The money's not worth it. But if you're brave enough and driven enough to want to make a change or to continue good work being done in the Waipā Council, then good on you for doing that. And we'll thank you more formally towards the end of the evening. I thought I'd share with you part of a letter to the editor dated the 14th of August, in which is headed, "They want our vote," and towards the end the writer says, well, that's better, they seek to tie us as a satellite to Hamilton, hold meetings behind closed doors, refuse point blank to stop spending, continue to cripple future generations with debt, rezone farmland to feed their lascivious spending, and yet they still want our vote of support. Really? Now, I don't think that's an overall general opinion of the members of the Chambers of Commerce, but be aware that that sort of information is flowing out there. As you already heard, you can use this as your guide tonight. So before the meeting, I met with the candidates, suggested they didn't waste any time telling us how long their family's been in Waipā, which schools their kids went to, or how they grow their gardens, but to go for the jugular all the way through, because time is very much of the essence this evening. As you heard, we're going to start with some quick-fire questions. There is nothing sinister in this. It's actually to warm up some of the candidates and also to actually get me on side too, so I'm in the group. So I'm going to throw about 4 or 5 questions. I'll just name somebody, and they can ask the question. So the first one is going to be thrown at Stuart Hilton. This is a yes or no answer. Your microphones, by the way, are voice driven. So Stuart, answer yes or no. Do you favour amalgamation with another district council?
No.
Thank you. Let's come down to Dale Marie alongside me here. Again, this is a yes or no, Dale Marie. Do you favour improved CBD car parking over a new library? Yes or no?
Yes, if that's what Cambridge wants.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, this one, I think we'll throw Pip Kempthorne in the back row. This is a yes or no, Pip. Did you agree with the principles of the Blue Blob?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. He said absolutely not if his voice didn't carry, by the way. Let's put to Hope here. You've got a choice, Hope. A new library or an internal town bus service? She prompts for the bus service. Let's put one to Ian. This is a yes or no, Anne? Yes or no to reduce the traffic bumps on the internal roads?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you. This is a general question to all candidates, including the three people in front of me here. Did the manufacture or print of your publicity information take place outside of Waipā? If it took place outside of Waipā, please put your hands up. Okay, honest people? This is a Chamber of Commerce meeting, remember? Okay, we're now going to move to the Maori ward. It says candidates here. Sadly, Yvonne Waho is quite unwell and had to cry off this evening, which is a great pity. However, Dale Marie Morgan, who is currently sitting in the seat for the Maori ward of the council, is here. We're going to ask her a question. She has 1 minute to answer it. The bell will ring at 45 seconds, and then we'll take one off the board. First question, Dale Marie. By the way, if you wish to stay seated, please do so. If you wish to stand, also please do so, and your mic is voice activated. So Dale Marie, do you feel that you can be fully objective, regardless who voted you onto the council, that you can project a district-wide view on all council matters? 1 minute.
Ai Mariri kia koutou. And like the Mayor, I myself cover the entire district. So Māori wards, we bring exactly what rural wards do. We ensure that all voices are at the table, and as one who has to cover the district, it is a little bit of a challenge, but I make it happen. And you can ask those communities that I have included, like the Cambridge Tree Trust and many others that are connected with me, and I've connected with them. I do bring a unique voice, but one that traditionally has not been represented at our table. And I know that with democracy, that includes everybody. So, kia ora tātou.
Thank you, Dale Marie. The next question comes out of the system. The system's called Minty, by the way, it's just a brand. And there is the question for you, Dale Marie. Can you see it? I'll read it anyway. Are you happy with the referendum that will be part of this election process? 1 minute.
Kind of repeating a little bit of the last one. I will respect what the referendum outcome is, but like I said, to have everybody represented in your community, you have to have all communities with a voice at the table. So I understand that all the time we have low voter turnout, so I can't understand why we would oppress 18% of the vote. That is part of our community. So for me, like rural wards, we bring a unique voice to the table. We have 28 generations in I Am. We bring cultural, we bring environmental issues. We're very connected to the whenua and the resourcing of all of our environment and what it gives to us. Yeah, so I don't take away anything. I'm one vote and I add to the table. So, tēnā tātou.
Thank you very much. Well done. That concludes Dale Marie's input at this point. The next speaker, I think, is Stuart Hilton. Yes, it is. And the question, my question for Stuart is, Stuart, for 1 minute, should the council invest in a multi-storey parking building in the CBD with appropriate fees for parking?
Yes, is my answer, and hopefully it'll have good disabled parking. But what I will say is, as your Act Local candidate, what you will get is not just a voice that may change through council, but what you will get is my drive and commitment to the policies of the Act Local party. So I won't be changing my mind. You've also seen my material, and it is all about reducing rates and cutting out the waste. And if a car park is part of the growth and supports what we want to do as a community, then that is a good thing. And I would love to see that, because I had a partner who had a business in the town centre, but didn't survive. And while there was lots of people walking through town, nobody was buying. So yes, I support getting more people into the town centre, but also making sure that they actually do something when they get there instead of just walking around.
Thank you, Stuart. And now the question from Minty. And the question is, and I quote, what business have you managed where your livelihood depends or depended on your performance?
Every company I've ever worked for. I've worked as an executive. I was the GM of Asset Management and Transformation for First Gas. I've also worked in consultancy now, working with all the major councils. That includes Watercare and Healthy Waters. And what I have done is always delivered improvements and driving change. So what you will get from me is somebody who can deliver and has delivered. And that's what I want to do and bring to the table within council.
Thank you very much indeed. Well done. Next question goes to Joe Davies-Colley. It's a long question, Joe, so bear with me. Are you happy with the proposed provisions of the upcoming Local Government Amendment Bill, including scrapping the previous government's 4 well-being provisions, economic, environmental, social and cultural, or in other words, to stop the rot towards nice-to-have items, e.g. the Waipā Museum? Joe, 1 minute.
That's a great question. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if anyone has noticed, but we have $397 million worth of debt, and our rates are at 15.5%. And unfortunately, now is not a time for nice-to-haves, and that hurts me a little bit because the Cambridge Community Board have been advocating very strongly for a new library, and it wasn't until I was alongside the long-term plan process where I realised that the funding is just not there. So unfortunately, now is the time for back to basics. We need to look at our efficiencies in council, that's staffing levels for me, our procurement processes, how we buy and sell our services, and unfortunately I don't support the museum in Te Awamutu at this stage. It has a lot of merit, but it is just not the time. Perhaps in the future, but right now it's about being sensible, back to basics, keeping our levels of service where they are now. We all want to live in a town that we're proud of. Let's keep everything working. The pools have got to work, the library's got to be pleasant, our roads have got to be maintained, and unfortunately we just have to be sensible over the next few years.
Thank you. Stay there, and here comes your question from the audience. What will you do to convince more young people to run or to be involved in local communities and government?
Another good question, thank you. The community board this year that I was the chairperson of has been a young community board, relatively speaking, so I'm hoping that we have led by example and that we have been generally younger people. Other than that, you just have to be out there, you have to be visible, you have to be involved in their groups, you have to be at the sports clubs, you've got to be where they are, and you've got to show them that actually getting involved in local government is an amazing thing. And I've met a lot of young people through my role, and I've tried to say to them, hey, this is your town, this is your future, how do you want your roads to look, how do you want your housing developments to look, are you happy with the current library, do you want to take your little kids there when they're grown up? So it's about connecting, it's about being visible, and it's about being a very friendly and approachable person, because you should be able to see your local councillor or your local community board member in the supermarket, and you should be able to go up and say to them, hey, I've got this issue, and that goes for younger people as well.
Thank you, Joe. Well done. Ian Campson, the next question is coming. Oh, there is. Sorry, Ian. The next question is coming to you. How do you plan to ensure that Cambridge voices and needs are heard at the council table?
Thank you for the question. A good one. They all seem to be. One of the 3 things that I want to do, and part of what drove me to stand for council, is increase transparency. I think I'm a recent arrival here in Cambridge, and I went looking for information, and it's all there, but it's buried in hundreds of pages and hours of video that people don't want to watch, or don't have the time to watch. So I think surfacing that in a way that makes it very easy for people to consume will naturally improve that feedback loop. If you make it easy for people to understand what the council is doing, which I think also rallies against some of the rather hyperbolic points of view that were in that letter at the opening here, they're going to see what's happening and they're going to have an immediate opinion on whether they like it or not, and that makes it possible for them to feed back to us as councillors and therefore impact the decisions that the council makes.
Thank you, Ian. Stay on your feet, please. And here comes your minty question. Are you fully supportive of the forthcoming creation and operation of the Cambridge Connections Group?
Another excellent question. Look, that's a problem a long time in the making, and we need to come up with a way of addressing it. And I think, you know, following on from what happened before, a wider consultation process that's valid is absolutely needed. Infrastructure is my background. It's what I've done for 25 years across 6 countries. And I've personally started up hundreds of billions of dollars worth of work. And the key to it is to be realistic about what the cost and time is from the beginning and make a suitable allowance for the things that will inevitably change. If you're going to tell me at the very beginning that you know absolutely how we're going to support the things that the Connection Group comes up with, you're either deluded or lying to yourself. So I think working through that process is absolutely right. We just need to make sure it comes up with an answer that is actually executable.
Thank you, Ian. Philip Coles, you're going to be next up. And here is the Peter question. Are you of the opinion that council-related information is being sanitised prior to public release?
I hope my dyslexia is not going to kick in here, but yes, I do believe it is diluted, or, you know, it's like having our meetings changing to different times of the week, and that stopped allowing information to get out there to the community as well. And you know, we've got the new radar, we're in the loop and things like that. There was the weekly councillors' report, and that had a lot more information in there, and it was weekly. A lot more information on there, what progress has been made on various projects and items and things like that, where the loop has been every few weeks or month, and the radar was supposed to be every fortnight, but it ended up, since April, it's been every month. So, no, I do believe the information has been diluted.
Thank you, Phil. And before I go on to his minty question, folks, can you keep those questions coming, please? We've gone to a lot of trouble to set up this system to use your phones to ask questions, and this is your opportunity to do so. Phil, this is your minty question. What will you do to fix Lake Tikautu?
Gosh, well, I mean, I'm no big technical engineer for this type of thing, but planting is various plants. First of all, we have to create some sort of flow, because the water is just stagnating down there in the pond, in the lake. And that lake is a phenomenal area. I walk my Labrador around there. He loves it. We love it. And it's right in the centre of our town. So we've got to create some sort of flow to let the water run in and to let the water run out. And planting is also going to be various plants. Is going to be also a key way of being able to try and rectify it as well.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Take a seat, sir. Thank you very much. Carla Lukatiman, you're next. And your question is he flicking over? Oh, here we go. Carla, are you satisfied that the amount of public required council information is reaching its destination quickly enough?
Thank you for that question. With what I experienced living here in Waipā and with regards to the availability of information, how it's reaching the target audience. I believe we can improve that. We can make sure that sometimes council languages is not easily understandable to common people in the community, and we want to make sure that it's relatable, it is something that they can understand, it is something that they can relate to, and it is something that they can contribute to, and make sure that it's something that they want to happen in their community. And so I believe we can do something about that. We can make sure we can improve what we have currently and look into increasing efficiencies, increasing technologies, and increasing the use of what we have right now to better the people in the community receive the information that's available to them.
Thank you very much. And your minty question is, as an elected member, how will you balance adhering to central government requirements with representing the needs and aspirations of our community?
That's a good question. With regards to finding that balance, I know it's in every organization, in every institution, in any part of a society that we are in. It is something that we need to find balance, and whether it is something that's beneficial to the people or is something that they really need. Sometimes we need to find a good balance between what people need and what people want. Sometimes that's where what's realistic and what's ideal. And we want to make sure that we're adhering to the requirements of our central government as well, and representing what we need here locally in the town of Cambridge and also in the district of Waipā.
And the last one on the front row is for Barry Quayle. Barry, you have highlighted publicly that the current council has been less than prudent in mixing borrowed funds to pay for operational expenses. How will you arrest this trend?
That's that's a big issue for me. I want the council to be a top performing council, and the data at the moment shows us is in the bottom quartile. Over the last 3 years, we've had 40% increase in rates. So we really can't use the credit card to pay the normal housekeeping and shopping. So what I'm looking at is how we do plans, and using my financial nous, because I was the chair of finance in the regional council. So what I'm really looking at is how we do the whole planning and how that links into the finances. And that's really the bottom line from my point of view.
Thank you, Barry. Now we'll take you to the minty question, which is, it's a bit long, Barry, I apologise. Rates are high, the budget is barely balanced, it's a back to basic approach for council, but the fact remains, the library in Cambridge is no longer meeting levels of service. How will you solve this?
That's my question. Sorry about that. So the rates are particularly high, and so the library in Cambridge, to me, is about not building a new library. It's about how we are using that building. If you look at that whole building, we should be analysing how we use it, and we can actually expand on that if we bring in technology and the ways of doing things. So apply looking at that whole building and saying, rightio, what do we need from the library and what do we need here as a community? So I'm very much of that view that we should be looking at that carefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barry. That concludes the front row. We're going to get them to swap in a minute. Everybody happy with the process? Can you hear at the back all right? No problems? Good. I think they're doing great. Team, swap sides. Leave the microphones on your front seat, please. Okay, we've had the scrum, now we're going to have the back line. So we all settled? Everybody happy? So now we're going to go into the front row. The first one up is, so I should explain, by the way, this was the order we drew the names out of the hat yesterday. So the first one up is Mike Cater. Mike, what is your vision for economic growth in Cambridge in particular and Waipā in general?
Thank you very much for the question. I think economic growth, firstly, we need to be working as a community with the businesses and getting feedback for how the businesses see the community working. Business is a huge part of the community to make that community vibrant. I think events play a big part in that as well, to bring the community together, because we need the community to support the business, and we obviously need the business to support the community as well. So it's no good having business in town if people can't get into the businesses or if people are stifled in any way. So that economic growth, certainly for the region, is going to come through working together and partnering between council, partnering with businesses and the community, and maintaining a healthy relationship between the business communities and the council in order to grow together.
Okay, Steve, on your feet, mate. This is the minty question. Very interesting one. There are a number of candidates here tonight who are standing on, my words, a better Waipā ticket. And the question from the audience is, a number of better Waipā candidates have shared conspiracy theories, anti-vaccine or anti-fluoride views, disbelief in climate change. Stop. Are these anti-science views the better Waipā policy?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I've never sort of been branded personally conspiracy theorist before in my life. Is it a part of better Waipā policy? There are things that I guess, I can only speak personally for me. We sort of stand together on a lot of topics about council matters. So a lot of these issues, whilst I've got my own thoughts on them, certainly haven't been spoken about as a group. Anti-vaccine, well, firstly, what is anti-vaccine? To me, that was a term that only really sort of came around in COVID era. I think that should have been about respecting personal choice, regardless of which way it went. So it's not about pro or anti-vaccine, it was about personal choice. As for anti-fluoride, I work at a dentist sort of thing, so, and I'm the son of a dentist, so, and I've got no fillings. I had fluoride tablets as a kid. But again, it should come down to consultation with the public and each to their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. That was not an easy question to answer. Well done. Roger Gordon. This is going to be interesting. Do you feel you can live practically with Susan O'Regan as mayor, given that your website has indicated a great frustration regarding a marked reduction in council-related transparency? Roger, 1 minute.
Right. Well, I think the important thing is that around the council table, we all have different points of view. And we all have to express what our particular interest and view is. And I admit that sometimes we don't agree. But the point is, we respect each other around that table, and that's the big thing that I think generates good quality debate and discussion if you remember respect and respect the person's differences. And so, yes, I can have a drink with Susan, as long as she's paying.
Okay, here comes your minty question from the audience, Roger. Central government often directs how councils must act. Will you simply adhere to those instructions, or will you advocate for what works best for Waipā?
Obviously, we will advocate for what works best for Waipā. And we actually did do that in this last term, because we had the instruction for urban development, where we had to do things which we didn't think were right. The 3x3s, which was terrible for Waipā, for Cambridge. In fact, that it would have impacted the character of some of our traditional areas. So yes, we will react against it, but there are times when actually reacting against it, like refusing to do the fluoride, would result in us probably having to meet a fine of 100,000, which would go onto your rates. Is that a good idea? No, I don't think it is. In terms of the new act that's coming through, I actually agree with back to basics. I don't agree with the rate cap. I think we should look at council at doing and controlling the rates ourselves, which I think is very
Thank you. Thank
Have
you,
I
Roger.
gone through my time?
Well
Thank
done,
you.
sir. You did indeed. The next is Ian Hayton. Ian, your question from me. Pardon me. With the appointment of a new chief executive, that's a council chief executive, do you perceive that the council is making improved progress with regard to transparency of information?
Good question, thank you very much. No, would be the simple answer to that. There hasn't been much improvement in transparency. The media content gets diluted to the point that it's not readable in a lot of cases. There's been a number of requests for official information from the council since the new CEO has been in place, and it's equally as redacted as what it was previously. So yeah, there needs to be better transparency in council. There should be nothing that the council does other than probably 3 minor things that it can't make public, and that should be anything to do with HR in regards to their staff, PII or privileged information in regards to the ratepayers and residents in Waipā, and contracts that are in consultation.
Thank you. And your minty question from the audience. Do you support council investment into the Te Awamutu Museum in Te Awamutu?
Thank you for the question. At the moment, no. We don't have the funds, as has been mentioned before, over nearly 400 million and projected to be nearly $500 million in debt in not distant future. Yes, they're talking about moving deck chairs on the Titanic and taking 230 million and moving it to the COO, but that's just moving it from the left pocket to the right pocket. You all, as ratepayers and residents, are going to end up having to pay that debt regardless of where it lives. So we need to live within our means, and we need to stop putting things on the credit card, start paying down that debt, and start getting it so my grandchildren aren't paying what we're spending now.
It's all right, I've just lost my who's speaking. Pip Kemp, thank you very much. Pip Kempthorne, I think you're next. I'm just stumbling for my sheet. Here it is, yes indeed. Pip, your question from me. Over the past 3 years, has sufficient attention been paid to prudent financial practices by Waipā District Council?
It's the age-old question about are the resources being used effectively? I know it's always a tough call, but personally I think there is a lot of waste in most large organisations, and Waipā is a large organisation. I know the council is making very useful decisions about what's in front of them, but I think there are some real issues with regard to excessive corporate people within the organisation, and there's also sort of probably a lot of savings could be made, particularly around the civil engineering works and the civil contracting activities, where I think potentially some of the contractors are making excessive margins against what they should, and that's to a certain extent because they are not being effectively managed by the council to ensure that projects are coming in on time, on budget, and within scope. So yeah, I think there's sort of a lot of work can be done around minimising corporate overheads.
Can you wrap, please?
And reducing the spend, particularly in the civil engineering contracting area.
Thank you. And your audience question via the Minty system. Name one policy that you will introduce or bring to council that you can get done. These are good questions coming in.
The policy area, or the sort of area that I would like council to really concentrate on, is making sure this communication question to say, can the council communicate to us as residents in ways that we can understand, that we know that there is not this big gap between them and us, the council and the community. And one way in my view that we need to do that is we need the council to start speaking real English and words that we can understand, rather than council speak and this strange language that they sometimes talk, and when they talk to us, we don't quite know what they're saying. So, I'd really like them to be able to communicate to us in language that we understand, and I don't think that would be too complex a thing to make sure we could get done. Thank you.
Dave Marinkovich. Your question is a very simple one. Should rates rises be index linked with national inflation?
Yeah, pretty simple answer to that. Yes. Yeah, I can't say much more than that. 100%. If they're not, then we're not doing all we can to keep rates down, basically. Looking at what costs we got and what we're delivering, so yeah, 100%.
Okay, and your minty question from the audience. Are you fully supportive of the forthcoming creation and operation of the Cambridge Connections Group?
Yes, I am. One of my big drives in going for council is that communication with the council and in the decisions that we make. So 100%. I think with this one, though, the key to any working group is that we get the right people on that. Very, very important. People that are going to add value and not just liaise with the council, but with the public as well, and bring the public's view to the council and to that working group. So yeah, 100%.
Thank you, Dave, very much. Stuart Matthews, you're in the hot seat. And you'd be even better if I could find your question. Here we go. What is the biggest issue facing Cambridge right now, and how do you plan to address it?
The biggest issue is money. It's always money. It's how much we need, where we get it from, and how we spend it when we've got it. Addressing it, as other people have said, is brutally reducing spending. Simple as that.
Okie dokie. Minty question from the audience. Oh, this is interesting. What's your approach to strengthening partnership with Mana Whenua and upholding Te Tiriti Waitangi in council decisions?
Talking. It's supposed to be a partnership. You talk to your partners.
Okay, thank you. And I guess, Hope, it must be you, because it's the only one I haven't ticked. So Hope Spooner is coming on, and we'll just find Hope's question. Bear with me, Hope, for a second. I'll put it somewhere and I can't find it. Oh, there it is. There we go. Remembering you're at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. What do you believe the role of business should be in shaping the future of our community, and how would you work with the Chambers of Commerce?
I think working with the Chamber of Commerce is just keeping going how it is, communicate, listen, hear what they have to say and advocate for the business. And I can't really answer the first part of the question too well without being with it in the council, as I suppose. Okay. Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. And a minty question. Maybe stop rolling. go back one. This is very interesting. I wasn't ready for this one. With the dramatic rise of council staff, do you support a reduction of public civil servants where necessary?
Good question. Yes, I believe so. I think we have over 300 staff within council at the moment, and last year alone $14 million on consultants was spent. So where absolutely necessary, it does need reviewing. I wouldn't say I'd support an absolute reduction, but it needs a review.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hope.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, are we allowed to now answer all of the other questions that we didn't get? I'd love to have answered some of them.
Behave yourself, Roger. Okay, that concludes the 2 rows. Hey, thank you, folks. Stay in your seats, relax. You're going to get a break, and we're going to move to the 3 mayoral candidates. So can we just do a quick scene change of these 3 chairs, please? Bring them here at the angle. Excuse me. Thank you for that. Good thinking. Here you go, sir. Okay, slight change of how we do this. The microphone, each of the mayoral candidates has a microphone. Just to remind you, they are voice activated. You don't have to fiddle with an on-off button. So don't say a naughty word at the wrong moment. It might get caught up. Now the mayoral candidates each, and the order of their speaking to was drawn out of the hat yesterday, and I'll bring that up in a second. Each of the mayoral candidates has how long? 2 minutes? 1 minute, 1 minute 30. Whoa, tight. Yes. 1 minute 30 to make a presentation, and then to take questions as we did previously. Happy with that? And then that's later on. Good on it. Okay, so first out of the hat when we did the mayoral one was Claire St. Pierre. Claire, welcome.
Kia ora koutou. I'm proudly standing for Mayor of Waipā District because I was born in this beautiful place and care deeply about its future. And I want a council that does better at the basics. My priorities are affordable rates using Whanganui Council's 6-point strategy as a start, controlling debt, cutting waste and empowering communities, alternative revenue streams, better funding tools and cost-effective capital partnerships to unlock community projects are also in my play deck. Higher transparency will mean you know what's being spent and why, and that it's value for money. Can I do it? I've been on council for 12 years, so understand the challenges we're facing. My professional life centred around finance and research. I have a first-class honours degree in management, am a chartered member of the New Zealand Institute of Directors, an RMA Commissioner and Chair, and had speed reading training. Managing finances isn't just about relationships, it's about setting a structured plan, agreeing targets, and regular monitoring for results. I have the personal qualities. I'm part of the Crippner family with 6 generations living in Waipā, and no surprise, it was dairy farming. I'm used to living on a budget, being accountable and working hard, and I have that rural community mindset of service. I've led large environmental collaborations for Parongia and Mangatautari, and I have the financial discipline, meticulous planning, and teamwork experience. I'm simply be applying that I've learned from my years in business and conservation. So if you want the finances fixed, please give me your vote.
Well done, Claire, thank you. Now you're going to get a question, followed by a minty question, right? Same process, okay? The question I have for you and I've picked this up from information that you have put into the public arena. Who has been sidelining your initiatives re-revenue bonds and asset partnerships as a means of alternative funding for major projects?
Yes, I'm very interested in those tools, using my research skills. I've raised it around the council table. I can't say that any particular person has sidelined me, but it has been impossible to get anyone particularly interested in them. Yeah. There was a suggestion that the alternative funding vehicles or special purpose vehicles were a proxy for revenue bonds, but I reject that because they were at an 8% interest rate. Revenue bonds in the US actually are pretty similar to the LGFA interest rates we have at the moment. They're also more attractive because they get taxation concessions applied to them by federal or local, I suppose state governments.
Thank you for that. And the Menti from the audience? Well, this is an interesting one. Are one-term mayors necessarily the optimum way to create progress and longevity of programs?
Yeah, well, I should take offence at that. Who said I was only going to be one term mayor? Okay.
Somebody in the audience did.
I am older than the other candidates. I'm in my early 60s. But I don't actually feel that I'm low on energy or short of ideas, okay? What you need is a great brain and someone that's willing to get down there, I suppose, and get some action, but also, as I said with my collaboration work, get other people on board. Let's do this together.
Great answer. Well done, Claire. The name is out of the hat, produced as our next speaker, Susan O'Regan. You're fine, you're fine.
I'm seeking re-election as your Mayor of Waipā. Our biggest challenge currently is navigating tough financial times, striking a balance between meeting our needs now while still investing in the long term, so future generations aren't left with bigger problems. I know what this job demands. We're facing rising costs, rapid growth and major government reform, and I'm already across all of these things. My background in business and law means I bring the right skills. These are turbulent times and Waipā needs consistent leadership. I've shown I deliver. I called for a reset of the Cambridge Connections work, which is underway. I led our historic water collaboration with 6 councils, and under my leadership we cut $200 million from our budgets, responding to affordability concerns. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I've also brought in a new CE. We're seeing organisation transformation. I'm leading improvements to strengthen financial reporting to ensure better governance and accountability. For Cambridge, this means a council that's more responsive, delivers better value and makes smarter decisions. And I've built strong regional and national relationships, from grassroots to the beehive. Just yesterday I was talking to Minister Bishop, pressing for the infrastructure commitments, like our on-ramps in Cambridge North School. These trusted, respected relationships are a key to the future. Have I always got it right? No, but I've always fronted up, listened and learned. I'm committed to leading with integrity and hard work. I'd be grateful for your support to continue providing the leadership Waipā needs.
Well done, Susan. Great work. Stephen. And your question from the audience, Susan, is how will you ensure that council reduces the growing cost of consultants?
Look, that's a real curly one. We only have consultants because we can't justify having people on our payroll for an eternity if you've got somebody with a specialised skill. So you bring in consultants for a particular length of time or a project, and then you send them on their way. Otherwise, we would be bankrupt. Look, I do understand this perception out there that we spend far too much on it, but quite frankly, I don't agree with that. But what I do am really clear about is that we do need to right-size our organisation, and that is definitely on the cards, not only because of the need to address what our council will look like post-Waters transformation or transition, but also because we're acutely aware of the fact that there's a perception that we are staff-heavy. And frankly, sometimes you do wonder these things, but I think we just need to right-size the organisation for our particular services.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. And unless I've stuffed this up, the next speaker must be Mike Pettit.
Good evening, tēnā koutou. I'm Mike Pettit and I am standing for Mayor. Firstly, I'll start with, if I do win the mayoralty, I will be resigning from my position at Cambridge Primary School because you can't do both jobs. The other thing I'll do is I'll be where the work's being done, and if you're the mayor, that's out and about in your community. So I've been a school principal now for 31 years, 17 at Cambridge Primary School, where I've successfully led by building strong relationships, listening and collaboration, and empowering to let people lead and make a difference. I was on the Cambridge Community Board for 9 years, 6 of those chairing, and I've been on the council now for 6. My key priorities include building capacity within the council team through professional development, and that's around financial acumen, that's around strategic thinking, and that's also around high level questioning, so interrogating the data. Rebuilding relationships within our communities by actually listening, taking people on the journey, and getting things done with the community will be key. Using the strengths of the business people in our town, across the district, who want to build a better Waipā, who have been shunned. I say a big yes to tapping for talent and resources. Reduce the rates. The first thing is saving. The next thing is working with those that can assist us in particular and generating additional income. The Cambridge Connections piece, it's not just about taking people with us at the start of it, it's right through the journey. So relationships, results, and realism, that's what I stand for. I'm at a good union tomorrow night between 4 and 6 if you want to hear more than a minute and a half. Good to koutou.
Yeah, Mike. Mike, we're going to give you your question now from the audience, and I've got some of them here too. How do you intend to finance future growth when it's clear the rating income is not managing the task?
Yeah, very clear to everyone. So that gets back to we can't keep flogging the ratepayer. Those days are sort of gone. So when it comes to amenity in particular, but also some infrastructure projects that there's people out there that are really keen to partner with us on, it's about saying it's been a yes council, it's been a yes mayor, it's been a yes staff, and not saying sort of no to all this. So it's about partnering and it's about listening. It's about taking people on the journey, and it's about creating other revenue streams. So there's plenty of ways of doing that. This town hall is a great example of putting things in trusts. So it's council owned, but there's almost volunteers running it, and they've got access to money that we haven't got. Philanthropic sponsors, grants, and that sort of thing. So there's different ways to skin the cat, so to speak, and relying on a ratepayer moving forward is really not the go. So up north, far north, they pay rates up there as well. They've got a thing called Far North Holdings. Now I pay a lot of money to Andy Fell My Boat, a subsidiary company of theirs. It feeds back about $2 million back to the Far North District Council, which directly subsidises rates. This is the sort of thinking that we need to be doing. There's companies out there that have total synergy with Waipā Council that have got millions of dollars in the bank that want to partner with us. They're just waiting for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mike. Well done. And I owe an apology to Susan, and I do sincerely apologise. I was so keen to get the thing rolling, I forgot to ask her the minty question. Please, Susan, come back. And here is your minty question here. You want a second one, do you? Oh, well, okay, here you go.
That's it then. Who would you pick for deputy mayor?
Ready for a question? Okay. Do you believe that the future combined rates of Waipā DC and the new water entity, which is sometime next year, would produce lower overall rating? All right, so let's take it in two parts. The first part, let's stick with the Waipā rates. Next year, they're predicted at 10.6%. We have an opportunity, a tiny window in the terms of councils, of about 9 months between now and the next LTP finished and finalised, to actually take the waters out and then go through our council zero budget lines. That's taking some departments and actually going, you're starting at ground level. You've got no money, no staff, no anything, and you build the capacity of the department on the need of the community so that you can make a lot of savings there. And then, where we haven't done that, line by line, going through line by line budgeting and setting the expectations of a CEO,
this is what we expect the savings to be. If none of that can happen, then you can get someone independent to come and do that for you. The next part is the three waters, the waters bit. So are we going to be charged more? We were always going to be charged more for waters. It was how we're going to be charged more in the least possible way, and that's why we've gone into this Waikato Waters done well. So in about 10 years' time, if there's about a $300 to $500 difference of what we will be paying more by doing what we've done compared with if we'd stayed in waters. So in 10 years' time, we are going to be paying more water rates, but less than if we had actually tried to do this by ourselves.
Thank you, mate. Now, Susan, we will get you on the floor again. And here is the minty question for Susan. It's not that one there, I promise you. It's coming off my board here. If government forces a rates capping procedure, which areas do you feel may receive reduced attention?
Yeah, so rates capping, very topical. We actually don't know what the legislation is going to say. That's not even before us even draft form right now yet. So anything that we talk about is in a higher level kind of context. International experience will tell you that rates capping drives some perverse outcomes, but some positive ones. It can provide consistency and predictability for the ratepayer, which is a good thing. It can also suppress some of the often seen as more outrageous sort of expenditure on things, which is always a good thing as well. However, it can also have the perverse effect of driving less investment into things that we do need and getting ahead of growth. So growth districts and growth councils in particular, and towns like Cambridge could find themselves coming a cropper because of that suppression of rates to meet the cost of that growth. So yeah, it's too early to tell, but there's potential for there to be perverse outcome.
Thank you, Sue. Take a seat. Because I've got some time up my sleeve, by the way, thank you all for being really good in helping with the timekeeping. I really, really appreciate that. So we've got a couple of options. I've made a decision from the chair. We're going to hold that for a second. All right. I've got 2 or 3 questions here to throw at the 3 mayoral candidates, because we just have an overabundance of them, to be honest with you. And so, let's do this give this to Claire. We'll do it in the same order. Will you change council meetings back to Tuesday to align with local media deadlines and timely local reporting?
Yeah, what a good question. What I would do is I would talk that over with my new council, and we would discuss how we would work things, if it would be, work with them, so to change it back to Tuesday. I can appreciate that it's a very important deadline for the local news media. I think it's important for that to be a whole of council discussion first.
Okay, I'll throw it at the other 2. Susan.
Yeah, interestingly enough, as luck would have it, on Wednesday we're having a workshop on this very, very topic, and it's part of what we agreed we'd do when we'd trial a changed governance strengthening package, of which this date and cadence change was affected. I guess ultimately, yes, as Claire's indicated, it has to be discussed and benefits, clearly highlighted, and the shortfalls obviously understood. However, you should never really, in my view, as an organisation, make decisions around to detract from operational efficiencies to meet the timelines of organisations outside of your own business. And I appreciate that may cause some angst for our local media, and I'm sure we can work ways around ensuring there's timely provision of information to them. But I do think if it is ultimately decided that it is to the detriment of efficient operations within our organisation, that would be the wrong thing to do.
Okay. Mike, question for you. We'll do the one that's on the board. Do you support...
Can I answer that?
Pardon? Oh, you want to answer that first, you? Okay.
Yeah, why not? Hey, I want to go back a little bit. When we made that decision back in council, none of us actually thought about the consequence of the newspaper. And I think some of us afterwards, when we realised that the impact of that, I really suspect that decision could have been different. So I mean, it's good it's coming back to the table to have that discussion, to be fair. Also, some of the rationale of why we said yes to a Wednesday, because we're actually quite keen. There was some good rationale around it. And it was asking questions and giving staff time to actually deliver the answers back to us before we hit council on Tuesday. But since then, some technologies which have been a little bit bagged, but there's some technologies that have come into council and some communications that have sped that ask a question, get an answer back process. The other thing is this, is AI. Whether you like it or not, it is here, it is coming, it's pretty exciting. It is also going to help speed up the process. So all this, I would be interested to be taken to the discussion on Wednesday. So yeah, the fourth estate is important to keep us all accountable.
Okay, well we'll stick with the mayor one. Oh, you will take the one off the board and it's clear again first. Do you support ongoing Maori ward representation?
Okay, thank you for that. And yes, I do support Māori ward representation, but I appreciate that there is going to be a referendum, and I'm perfectly willing to abide by the result of that. Now, when we when we consulted on setting up the Māori ward in Waipā, we did run a public consultation process and received 75% support at that time. Then we've had Māori ward councillors around our table, and I must say, I think they have provided, especially Dale Marie, who's been there the longest, has provided really a valuable and I suppose a point of view that we have not had around the table before. I think that democracy is strongest with diversity, and so yeah, I fully support continuing Māori ward representation because I think it strengthens democracy.
Thank you, Claire. I'm going to put the next question to Susan. Before I do, just to remind people, you will all in the next few days get an envelope with your voting papers in, and there will be a referendum. Now, whilst people standing for the Maori ward may only be elected by people who are officially on the Maori roll, the referendum can be answered by anybody. Just to remind you that we have a current single-person Maori ward, Pan Waipā, that will continue for the next 3 years, and the referendum is what happens in 2028. So the question for Susan is, if the referendum results in strong community support for Maori wards, how will you act on that mandate? And if the opposite happens, how will you ensure Maori voices are still represented?
So in terms of the first portion, how will we act on the mandate if there is a resounding yes? Well, obviously we follow said mandate, which would make me very happy. If, however, the opposite happens and we get a very clear stare from our community that a Māori ward is not something that we see in Waipā District Council for now, there are other alternatives we can turn our minds to in terms of incorporating Māori voices. We currently have Te Kanohi reps who are positions held for mana whenua iwi on our full council committees, and they add huge value to our full committee conversations. We also have very clear legal obligations to meet our partnership obligations under joint management agreements, which we have with a number of settled mana whenua groupings or in our Waipā rohi. So we will certainly commit more fully to those. I think under this training we've actually made some real progress, particularly in the Waikato Tainui JMA and our commitments to Ngai Pā Whenua, which is the Ngāti Koriki Kahukura JMA. So there are other avenues, but that have to be well fleshed out before the council.
Appreciate that. Okay, Mike. We're still on the same theme. This is the audience, remember, telling us this stuff. Councils have responsibilities under Te Tiriti. How do Māori wards fit with your understanding of these obligations?
Well, Te Tiriti o Waitangi is about partnership, really, dating back to, I guess, 1840. So nothing's really changed there. It's just that over the decades, it's become more to the forefront, and people are sort of just getting more and more used to it. Though obviously there has been some teething problems in terms of understanding or acceptance. look, hey, I'm in a field in schools where this is sort of second nature to us. So clearly I've got no issue with this, and what it does is enhances and builds understanding and capacity of Aotearoa New Zealand, to be fair. So look, it fits like a glove. I'll totally support what Claire and Susan have said. We're all on the same page here. So there is no division. We absolutely see the benefit of it. It upholds the Treaty of Waitangi principles and Te Tiriti Waitangi, which are two separate documents. So no, I absolutely support it, and Dale Marie's doing an outstanding job. So she's a great advocate. And and I think someone mentioned about around the table we have all sorts of opinions and debates and points of view. And we don't all disagree, but it is great to have a greater understanding around that table, which is predominantly not Māori over the last quite a few election cycles.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, now we're going to do something different. Now it's your turn, because I'm getting a dry throat. Where's the goalkeeper with the ball? Come on, goalkeeper.
So this microphone is going to make work. And so if anyone has any questions for anyone in the room, put your hand up. I'm going to throw this. It's okay if it drops, and you can ask your question.
So the goalkeeper here for Manchester United
You can have it.
has got a live ball. It is a microphone. If you have a question, we will throw it to you. Speak into the top here, please, clearly. And if you want a general question, that's not a problem. I'll decide where it goes. Or if you identify somebody that you want to answer that specific question, then that's all good too. Okay, who's got questions? Lady there in the see how good she's at catching. Oh yeah, she's playing. The Phoenix have got a spot for you.
Having owned a business in Cambridge for 48 years now, travel agency, Hello World, we have a concern, for staff parking. The girls work long hours, and at the moment there is absolutely nowhere for them to park all day without getting parking tickets. Now that's a regular occurrence because you have to be here about 7 o'clock in the morning. But if you're still working at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, and you're walking to the public car parks, it can be quite dangerous and scary, especially if it's raining. I don't know about the big two-storied or three-storied or multi-storey car park, but you do need to take the consideration for the people who actually work in this town.
Okay, the council of candidates, thank you for that very good question. The council of candidates have had a break. Who'd like to stick your hand up if you want to answer that? Okay, Joe was first and Mike was next.
That's a great question, thank you. So the Community Board especially have been advocating to work on a parking strategy. We've wanted to do that in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. They are the leading advocates for the business community, and they fully understand the needs and desires of the business community. Parking in Cambridge is at a premium, absolutely. There has to be a mix. There has to be those parks where people can pop in and they can visit a shop for half an hour, but there does need to be long-term parking. And as Cambridge grows, unfortunately, that is getting further and further and further away. And I understand for your staff at night, absolutely, that is a concern. Is Cambridge ready for paid parking? I'm not sure we are. Do we want to think about a private-public partnership in terms of a parking building that has safety measures? Obviously that costs. We don't want council to have to pay for that, but how can we partner with others to make sure that all our parking needs are well catered for?
Mike Cater.
Hello. Yeah, I operate a business in Cambridge as well that was directly affected when the cycleway went in, and my big concern there was parking, and I guess that's probably where my interest in council started. So I absolutely hear what you're saying. At the end of the day, if there isn't spaces for staff to park for the businesses aren't going to be open. It's that simple. So whilst we want to sort of give the opportunity to have turnover of visitors into town and whatnot, so they got half an hour, the fact that if the staff can't get into work and they can't park securely safely all day, that business is not going to open, and then it doesn't really matter if people come to town or not, because the businesses aren't going to be open for them to come to. So yeah, absolutely support parking as a major issue, and we need to address that for the good of the businesses in this communities.
Philip's hand was up next, then Roger, then we'll cut it on that question. Philip first.
Yeah, thanks, Bernice. There's a couple of key things here, really. We've got to utilise the area that we've got and incorporate more diagonal parking. Just straight out here in Kirkwood Street, there was about a dozen more car parks developed because of diagonal parking. When I was on the community board quite a few years ago now, I advocated for diagonal parking along Alpha Street outside Cambridge Real Estate and Onyx, and we got that, which has been a massive success. Why there is restrictions on parking in Haley's Lane, some of the area there is 1 hour and 20 minutes. I got a lot of...
Thank you. Your time, Phil. Sorry.
A lot more to say.
Roger?
Yes, I agree with everything you say and everything you said. Just remember that the Cambridge Connections programme, I know it's all about a bridge, but it's not. It's all about our current transportation network, and part of Cambridge Connections is a parking review, which has got to happen, and it's got to happen before next December when they're coming back with. So make sure you have a voice in that Cambridge Connections consultation.
Well, hell, it took us an hour and a quarter to get the third bridge mentioned. Are we all asleep or something? Well done, Rog.
Cambridge Connections was...
Yeah, general questions. I'm helped to direct them anywhere. Okay. You right, madam? You want to come in? Okay. You can do the vote bit. Okie dokie. Who has loaded down the app onto their phone? Did technology overcome you? Can you just show you my hands again? I've got to make a decision on something. Just stick them out so I can see them. Roughly a third of the people are here. You want to have a vote, Kelly?
Does the audience want to take a vote? Non-binding, to give an indication to the councillors for Merrill and Cambridge Ward to sort of kind of see how you're taking what I think almost 5 weeks still to go. Is that something you'd like to participate in?
Are we all nodding?
I've got a general nod there, yeah.
Well, that's up to you to persuade everybody else. I'm fed up of saying it in the newspaper about voting. If we're still going to have 38 to 39% voting, well, that's just absolutely pitiful. Right. Okay. Which voting we're doing first, Kelly?
You're the general council candidates up on screen, so the Cambridge Ward. So we are going to have a light number, but this gives you, I think, 4 options. Is that right, Aaron? Yep.
You can vote for up to 4 council candidates. You don't have to do all 4, up to 4. And this clever thing will tell you something. Nobody knows who's pressing which button, we absolutely promise you. Did you not load down the app? Who's missing?
The full list should be on your phones, but they haven't come up yet as a vote. So they are you not seeing that? Okay, so we'll null and void that particular one given the technical challenges.
Well, there you go. It's a first.
Thanks,
It's a first, but we're not going to let it go in the future, that's for sure. I rather like it.
Apologies for anyone that was not on that list.
Can we do the same for the mayor?
Yep. Okay, we've got everybody on the list, which is encouraging. And again, we're really mindful that this is a Cambridge-centric
Audience.
non-binding vote. So it's really for a bit of fun. It's to give everybody, one of the questions that I'm asked every day is, who do you think is going to win? Well, as an apolitical organisation, I don't have an opinion on that. Secondly, I've got no idea. So this is just to kind of give some indications of...
So what you're seeing here is basically a pie chart. There's another word for it, but I like that. So there you can see everybody's got a colour. The paler blue is Susan, the darker blue is Claire, and the pinky bit, sorry, Mr. Pinky, is Mike, dear. Okay, so there you go. Pretty close. Pretty close. Look at that. So remembering, voting hasn't started yet. Official voting starts, I think, around about Thursday of next week. You've got until noon on, I think, the 10th of October. 11th, thank you, Mike, to get them in. And that actually concludes the formal part of this evening's activities. And I will pass back to Kelly.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for the hours and hours of prep that went into facilitating tonight's forum. You did a sterling job, thank you. To my team members from the Chamber, thank you for your work in preparing both the information booklet. Take them away and share them around. It's great information that's been provided. And thank you all for your time in joining us tonight. The Menti results, and I do apologise that it didn't give you guys a bit of an indicator, just really give a quick snapshot in the room, but the real result is at the ballot box. We hope this forum has given you a clearer insight into the candidates, and what they stand for. To our candidates on both sides of me, thank you for your willingness to front up, answer questions in a tight format, and contribute your voices to the future direction of Cambridge. I encourage you to take the insights, continue the conversations, and most importantly, show up and cast your vote. Local government decisions shape our roads, our growth, and the fabric of our everyday lives, and your participation is crucial. So on behalf of the Chamber, thank you and good evening.